Dream Theater's Parasomnia. Their new album, which just released a few days ago. I was on YouTube just browsing and saw that hey, there's new Dream Theater uploads like a few hours ago. Oh, that's pretty cool. It's a new album. Yeah, this album sees the return of Mike Portnoy, which a lot of people anticipate. 13 years without a band, and now he decided to come back. Yeah, a lot of people were excited for this, and I wasn't because I didn't even know that change actually had happened in the lineup anymore. So I haven't caught up with Dream Theater in a while. I haven't listened to the fucking what was the album called? A View from On Top of the World or A View on Top of the World or something. So I haven't listened to that album yet. So it's been a while since I caught up with Dream Theater. But eventually I saw this album and I was like, yeah, sure, let's give it a listen. Let's see what this is all about and everything. And well, after giving it a listen twice. Actually, because I was kind of bored and I just put it on the background after listening to it the first time, and I gotta say, it's kind of a safe album. Let's be honest with ourselves, it's kind of a safe album, right? Like, this album reminds me a lot of Black Clouds and Silver Linings and the Dramatic Turn of Events. It's very like that registry of, it's kind of heavy, sure, there's obviously a lot of musicianship, but it's kind of safe in the sense that it doesn't have that anger that, a lot of this, especially the, Metropolis Part 2, Scenes from a Memory, or even Noctiferium, Train of Thought, those albums that really, kind of almost push the envelope of what Dream Theater was and what they could do with music, right? I think that obviously those days are long gone because these guys aren't fucking young anymore. Like, their career has been going on for longer than I've been alive. That's how fucking old they are. So, and I think that to talk a bit about the return of Mike Portnoy to the band, I think part of the reason is exactly that they're kind of old and they kind of just want to, sort of do a little bit of a mellow out throughout the end of their careers eventually, because like, they're pushing 50s 60s, I think, at this point. So you know what I mean, like, these aren't people that are very young anymore. These are people that have been around for ages. They've made way too much fucking music even outside of Dream Theater. So like, I didn't expect the return of Mike Portnoy to be that thing where it's like, oh my god, like, this is gonna revitalize Dream Theater, this is gonna be like, they're gonna be super innovative again. I knew that it wasn't gonna be there. Like, let's fucking face it, it wasn't gonna be that. They're not young anymore. They don't have that anger that, like, in your 20s, like, they have that thing of like, we want to prove ourselves as musicians, we want to show people that we're really fucking good and that we make like really cool music. Nowadays they have the experience, they don't need to prove anything anymore to anyone. They're kind of just making music almost for themselves in a way. I mean, not just for themselves obviously, but it kind of feels like that, you know what I mean? They're just kind of making music because, well, we know how to make music and we can make music, right? So in that sense, in that regard, I didn't expect anything super innovative, super new, and so my expectations weren't the highest coming into this album, and quite frankly, to already touch on Mangini, look, I liked him. I think that, Dream. I was gonna say Opeth. Holy shit! Dream Theater albums actually were good with him. I know that some people. Okay, just to talk a bit about how fucking annoying Dream Theater fans actually fucking are. It was so fucking annoying for years to see people continuously shit on every single album Mangini has been a part of, and then now that Portnoy is back, everyone just praises the guy and shits on Portnoy. Dude, I don't fucking get it. What's wrong with you people? Like, can you just fucking pick a side and, like, just enjoy fucking albums that you enjoy? Who gives a shit who was on them? Just enjoy the albums you enjoy, Like, that's it. That's all you have to fucking do. Like, who gives a shit about, like, oh, but Mangini was better, Portnoy was... No one cares, bro. Just enjoy the fucking albums that you enjoy. I enjoy albums from both. Granted, most of the albums I enjoy have Portnoy rather than Mangini, but one of my favorite albums have Mangini. So, like, just stop being fucking annoying is my point. Stop being annoying. Like, Dream Theater fans, I'm fucking burning myself here, but Dream Theater fans are just fucking annoying as shit. Like, who gives a fuck who's the better drummer and the most technical? No one cares, bro. Just enjoy the fucking music. That's it. right? That's it. As far as this album goes, and as far as enjoying this album is definitely more on the heavier side than the technical side, I would say. I think that at points, especially the opening song is very heavy. And at points, I actually thought it was like an Opeth song. I was actually like, no joke, some of the riffs, I was like in my head continuing the riffs with Opeth songs, not even like Dream Theater songs. That's how heavy that. At least the riffs on that first song, that's how heavy they are. The rest of the album is more like Dream Theater-esque, to the point where I kind of got lost in some songs. Like some songs I was hearing to the song and or I was listening to it, and then I just thought, like the lyrics in my head were from like a fucking album from like 15 years ago, because some of the things there sound very, very similar to, like, especially Black Clouds and Silver Linings. I think it's like by far the most, I think, one-to-one, A Dramatic Turn of Events as well. Like, those are the two albums that really, really remind me of when I listen to this album. Ultimately, I think it's a nice attempt at just doing the older albums again, or doing the older sound again type thing, right? This is just like literally quintessential Dream Theater, like, I like the fact that there was an attempt to sort of have a theme, again, like much like A Dramatic Turn of Events, for example, Black Clouds and Silver Linings, where they have sort of a theme. They're not like super, concept albums, but they have a theme to them, and ultimately, look, I'm gonna be honest, they're nothing amazing. Like, the album is nothing amazing. It's good. And I think that's all it needs to be. I think that this album, if I could describe this album, and if I could describe Dream Theater nowadays, I think the Dream Theater nowadays are just, like, it's like, when you decide to go and eat pizza, it's like, that pizza is not gonna be like anything fucking amazing, otherworldly, fucking culinary experience, right? It's pizza. It's fucking pizza, right? But that's the thing, you go and eat pizza and it's like, oh yeah, it's fucking good. It's pizza, you know what I mean? It's like a sort of comfort food. I think this album, in a way, feels kind of the same. It's nothing amazing, it's nothing like fucking otherworldly. It's not, oh shit, I'm listening to fucking Metropolis Part 2 for the first time. It's not, oh my god, this 24-minute long song is actually really fucking cool, like, I like how it evolves and the story it tells, like, it's none of that, right? Let's fucking face it. But it's good, it's fun to listen to, it's quintessential Dream Theater, it's just solid, right? It doesn't need to be amazing, it doesn't need to, and in a way I'm glad that they kind of like gave it, again, I didn't listen to a View on Top of the World, so I'm probably missing some context here. But at least from what I know, from After the Astonishing, which was like this immense, ambitious, concept album, especially from Labree's side, which, his vocals haven't been kind to him in the past few years, because obviously, people age and they get worse with time, because there's a decline in what your body can do and your ability, and vocals are by far the first one to suffer. It's much easier to play the drums to a certain degree than to use and especially when it comes to Dream Theater songs, where a lot of the vocals are very, very demanding. Like, we're not talking about just talking, singing, like, they're a theatrical vocals type thing. So, when they are this fucking demanding, so essentially that album was a, kind of a failure, I guess. A lot of fans didn't like it, especially because a lot of fans were in the 8 boner of hating Mangini, so I guess understandable. But I think that after that, especially with Distance Over Time, from what I've been reading, a lot of people actually like Distance Over Time. I didn't feel particularly impressed with it. I felt it was fine, it was a fine album, some of the songs are kind of fun to listen to, but that was pretty much it, right? So to see them sort of be unafraid again of like just going back to the roots and actually doing something that, sure, they've already done before, but it's something that they clearly enjoy, it's something that they feel comfortable with, I think that's nice. I think that Distance Over Time, I mean, I'm not reviewing that album here, but I will eventually. But essentially what I think that album sort of was more of a it was more technical. It was more, hey, look, we're still Dream Theater after the, the astonishing. It was more like, hey, look, we can still like put out stuff that is super technical and whatnot. We just didn't want to in the previous album or whatever. So I'm glad to come here and sort of see that with this album they kept that going pretty much. And I think it's pretty clear that this album has heavier influences because of Mike Portnoy. Like, let's face it, the albums with Mangini weren't that heavy, like at the same time they were more like aggressive, I think. Like they have that sort of energy that a lot of the older Dream Theater albums also have. Here you don't have that same energy again, which is why I say that this album is a bit safer, on the safer side, because it's heavy, sure, but you don't have that aggressiveness of early Dream Theater. Again, they're not that angry anymore to prove themselves. But it's definitely heavier. Like, you can definitely feel the heavy side that Mike Portnoy brings to the band. I think that's no secret. I mean, ever since Mike Portnoy has been in the band, there have been countless interviews and everything of members stating how much influence Portnoy has had when it comes to the introducing of the more metal, heavy sounds to the rest of the band members, and I think that this clearly shows, like, that influence clearly shows. I'm not saying it's better, by the way. One of my favorite albums involves Mangini, right? So I'm not saying it's better necessarily. I'm just saying, look, if you've heard any... I was gonna say Opeth again, oh my god. If you heard any Dream Theater album with Mike Portnoy, especially from the late 2000s era, the post-Octavarium era, this is pretty much it. Like, this is an album that could very well fit there, right? It's very safe, there's no super risks that they're making or whatever. You have the return of few songs in the album, but they're all long. One of them is an interlude, because apparently albums still need that today. I don't know why, but yeah, and obviously a song is like 20 minutes long. Overall, it's a very solid album. It's fun to listen to. It's just not anything super innovative or anything like that. So I'm gonna go with I think right now I'm gonna give it like a 7 out of 10. It might get better in the future, as I say that for every album because that's just the reality of every album I listen to. Usually they tend to go up, never go down, and if they go down it's because I really just don't appreciate the band anymore. Just I grew out of the band completely, but even then I still have a certain respect for them. So usually, my appreciation of albums and music usually goes up, not down. So yeah, 7 out of 10 for now, and you should probably go listen to this album if you've heard Dream Theater with Mike Portnoy. This is pretty much it. It's quintessential Dream Theater with Mike Portnoy.